Peace and light, family. I hope that y'all are well. So it's been a minute. Let me adjust my camera and my lighting. It's a little bright. Okay, so it's been a minute since I've been live. And really, it's been like a week and some change, maybe since I posted anything on YouTube. And that's really just because I've been taking this past couple weeks just to like really, be internal and to meditate and to manifest and, do my spiritual thing. Um, but I felt urged to go live today to discuss the Black experience, the universal Black experience. I'm sure if y'all are on social media, I'm sure that you have seen the killings and the murders of, two young Black men, Ahmaud Arbery as well as Sean Reed. Both men were gunned down. Sean Reed was murdered by the police. Ahmaud Arbery was going for a run, and on his run, he was murdered by two white men. No one has been charged in either murders. Hey, Shauna, how you doing? Peace, how you doing, Jesse? No one has been charged with the murders, and it's really heartbreaking. And a part of me is like, I'm happy that we do have cameras and, we do have, ways to record and to get these messages out, so that people can actually see. Because the police brutality and, not just police brutality, but Black people being lynched in America is not a new thing. Black people being killed in America is not a new thing at all. But the thing is, it's like now we can, it's not deniable whatsoever. Like now we can see it publicly because people are recording it and people are sending the videos, which that's the positive part about it. Like it's no longer something that can be denied. Now there is video evidence of this happening. But nothing is still being done. So it's just like proof. Like now we have proof that there is no justice when we are unjustly murdered and unjustly beaten. We have proof that there is no justice. But what has changed since the evidence, like what really has changed? Having the video evidence, I don't feel like has changed anything except for that we get to see it over and over and over and over, and our children are growing up normalizing this and almost becoming desensitized to the violence and to be seeing Black people being killed. So I really wanted to like have this conversation. Absolutely, the system doesn't care about us. I agree with that completely, and I feel like that's something that we've always known. We've always known that especially in America, that the system was not set up for us as Black people to do well and to thrive. It was not set up that way. The intentions was never for us to do well. So I feel like we know that, and now we have video evidence to prove like, look, I told y'all that this is happening to us. I told y'all we are being killed. I told you we are innocent and we are unarmed and we're not doing anything. And we're still being shot down and nothing is happening. And Shauna, I completely understand that. Shauna says she doesn't watch it because she doesn't want to become anxious for her boys. And that's but I feel like the downside of having the video is that it sends Black folks into a state of anxiety. It sends us into a state of depression. It sends us into a state of anger and rage, because we're constantly seeing this over and over and over. And even in a time like we're in the midst of a pandemic, where people are at home for the most part, people are quarantined, folks is going through stuff. Like we are going through a universal challenge, yet Black folks are still getting beat and Black folks are still getting killed. And like even here in New York, we're having a big problem with police brutality up here because of the social distancing. We have like extreme social distancing measures where everywhere you can't, it's only a certain amount of people in the store, 6 feet inside the store. Most stuff is still closed. Like we're still extremely locked down. And I don't know if y'all are seeing it, but in New York, it's a big deal because in Black communities, the police are beating people down if you do not have a mask on. They are beating people down if you are standing within 6 feet of someone. Like literally, the police are patrolling our streets like this is a war zone. And if they see you not following what they feel are the social distancing rules or you don't have a mask on, you're getting beat for it. You're going to jail for it. You know what I'm saying? Which is a problem, because we all know in the projects and in the hoods and the ghettos, especially here in New York, everybody is tightly compacted. It's almost impossible to stay 6 feet away from people. Yet in Black communities, they're beating people for the same thing that in West Village where white people live, they're handing out free masks and they're giving out free tape measurers so that people can measure the distance between themselves. And, the people are sitting out at parks, and we can't even go to our local park over here in the hood. I live in Harlem. We can't even go to our local park. It's literally police standing outside the park to make sure nobody goes in. But you got pictures of white folks in West Village sitting at the park chilling, and the police officers handing out masks. Yet, literally on my block, a black boy was beat down because he didn't have a mask on, and he wanted to go in the bodega. Like, there's a clear injustice that is happening, and all of that is being recorded. You can look up like NYC police brutality, NYC social distancing, and you can see the videos of black folks in New York being beat down because they're not following social distancing rules. But it's not the same treatment for white people. And I literally had 3 conversations with 3 black men from last night to today of them just being so angry and so enraged and feeling so helpless. You know what I'm saying? And what Shauna said earlier about becoming anxious for your sons, like me talking to women who are raising black boys in particular and black children in general, and just being scared and being afraid about what is going to happen to them. Like, how are we going to survive? Like, what do I tell my son? What do I tell my daughter? One of my friends, she has a 7-year-old son, and she has to have that conversation with him because he's seeing the Ahmaud Arbery case unfold before his eyes, and he's only 7 years old. I remember having that conversation with my nephew when my nephew was 7, and my nephew is growing up in Virginia. He's growing up in the suburbs. He has a few white friends, but we're watching a documentary about police brutality, and he's seeing what's happening, and I had to have the conversation with him and let him know, like, listen, I know you have white friends, but this is what it is, and this is what it looks like, and this is our experience. And I also think that we have to get away from just naming it, and including myself, just naming it police brutality, because as we see with the Ahmaud Arbery case, it's not just police brutality, it's about a racist America. You have a racist America that looks like police, that looks like your next door neighbors, that looks like the person across the street from you, who are racist people who just feel like they are better than black folks. Therefore, we do not deserve to occupy the same spaces in the same way that they do. Because they don't mind if we're occupying the same spaces as long as we're in a servitude position to them. We can drive their cars and drive their buses as long as they sitting in the back seat riding. We can work at the grocery stores as long as we're cashiers, but we better not shop there. We can run down the street as long as we're running from them, but we better not be running to work out. We can walk through their neighborhoods to go home, but you better not have on a black hoodie with a hood on and be holding Skittles and being peaceful. You better walk around the neighborhood and don't walk down our street. It's about a racist America, not just police, not just the KKK, but a racist ideology in America. And it happens with not just because you got white people who be like, oh, I'm an ally, but what really is an ally? Because during a time like this where a lot of people who are claiming they're allies and they ain't doing nothing, and that's the part that, like, is irritating for me with the whole ally conversation, because I told the story a while ago about when I was on the train and there was a white boy on the train, and he talking about nigga this and nigga that and nigga this and nigga that, and I'm looking at the other white people on the train because I'm like, y'all claiming that y'all are allies, y'all should check him. I shouldn't even have to say nothing. As an ally, you should check your folks, check your people. I'm looking at the Ahmaud Arbery case, and folks in Georgia, which I went to school at Savannah State, which is not too far from Liberty County where everything happened. And literally, I'm looking at folks marching, at Savannah State. They're talking about organizing something in Savannah and marching to where he is. And it's black folks marching. It's black people lined up. It's black people doing the work, and black people sitting on the steps of the Capitol building and all of that stuff. Where are the allies? You know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't the allies marching? Why aren't the allies sitting on the steps? Matter of fact, why are the allies who are probably working in the Capitol building not opening the doors to let the black folks in? Like, what are y'all really doing? That's my whole thing with the ally conversation. But when it comes to just like the black experience in America, the shit is exhausting, and the shit is tiring, and the shit is, it's thought provoking, but it's also anger provoking. It's also rage provoking. And black folks is tired. Brown allies aren't there either. Fatima, you brought up a great point. Like the brown allies aren't there either. And the thing is, I think that's a conversation that like black and brown folks definitely need to have, because brown people, also experience police brutality and things like that. And oftentimes when we speak about police brutality and we speak about, racist America, oftentimes we're not inclusive of them in the conversation more often than not. So I think that's something that we both got to step up to be more inclusive on both sides of the spectrum. But just in regards of like when I speak of the black experience, I'm speaking of brown people too, because they black folks too, believe it or not, and our experiences, although very different, have similarities. But when we think about the black experience as far as being African American, and being born in America as a black person, or being a black person who has migrated to America thinking that you're coming into the American dream, and you see that it's nothing like what you thought it was, because the America that we experience is not portrayed on TV. That's something that as someone who has traveled the world and has been to several countries in Africa, I have been to China, I've been to Bali, been to Europe, as someone who has traveled, I can tell you that when you watch the news, the America that we experience is not discussed on the news internationally. So they have no idea what we go through. I remember being in Ghana and I remember I would ask this question and I should have documented it. And when I go back, I'm going to do it again and document it. I asked Ghanaian people, black Ghanaian people, I said, listen, if a white person came right now with a boat, and they said that they would bring you to America for free, all you have to do is work with them, they would say, what? What would you do? Would you come? Would you come? Would you get on a boat? What would you do? If they said all you got to do is work for them, you could come to America for free, what would you say? What would you do? They said that most of them said they would get on the boat and go to work for them. And it's because they're not being taught about what slavery was in America. They're not being taught about the Black American experience. So once I would show them videos, there's a great pictorial video from Billie Holiday for Strange Fruit. It's a Strange Fruit pictorial video that's great on YouTube. I would play that video so that they could see what lynchings look like in America. I would teach them about Emmett Till. We had a calendar. I went to SSU, which is the HBCU. We had a calendar that discussed all of, went through the journey of Black Americans from slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration, prison industrial complex, all of that stuff. And I would show them the pictures and the calendar and explain the stories and what it meant, and we would have these discussions, and most of the time the discussion ended with them in tears, because they had no idea that the America that they dreamed about, the America they're fighting so hard to come to, that this is what we experience here. I talked to immigrant Black people here and in America, and all of them speak about their disappointment. All of them speak about how they had no idea what it would be, that they would have to fear for their lives when they're going to the store for their children. They have no idea, so I think that's a discussion that really needs to be opened up when it comes to like the Black experience, because we experienced it here in America, but also in other countries. When I was in South Africa, we know South Africa experienced apartheid, and it was crazy. It was a wild experience, but they're still suffering in a lot of the same ways that we are. The difference is the way that they're organizing and fighting back is with violence, and Black people in America are not doing so, but the way that they're fighting back is very much different. Therefore, their results are a bit different than what we're seeing, but it's a universal Black experience where Black folks are just seen as lesser than. Black folks are being seen as targets. And when I'm scrolling through social media and I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm on, I don't have Facebook, but I'm like, just scrolling, and I'm seeing all this these videos constantly of just Black folks being killed. I watched that Sean Reed video, and to see the camera face up, and that's when you just know he's down, he's dead. And then to hear the cop make the joke talking about it looks like it's gonna be a closed casket, and you see this beautiful brother's face, and that when the cop says that, that means they just ravished his shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the cop to even say it looks like it's gonna be a closed casket is just like, what? To see it, I just got a CNN update to my phone that says the 2 men that was involved in the shooting have been arrested. So that CNN update just literally came to my phone. But even that, like, what does that mean? Like, he gets arrested. They get arrested. Okay, so what's next? How many times have we seen white people kill black people? They get arrested and they get acquitted in the court case, if they even go to court. You know, like how often do we see that? Look at the case of Sean Bell, the case of Eric Gardner, Amadou Diallo, Emmett Till. Like so often we see that. So what does an arrest really mean? Like, yes, that's a step. But what does that really mean? You know, I think about the case of Akai Gurley that we had here in Brooklyn, New York, in the pink houses, which is projects. It's a set of project buildings. In the pink houses, there was a case of Akai Gurley who he was just in his building, taking the steps because the elevator was broke, as it often is in the projects. He was taking the steps, and an Asian officer claimed he was scared because the lights in the steps was broken. So he claimed he heard the officer was doing duty and he was checking the steps. Akai Gurley was coming up the steps, the officer was going down. He saw Akai Gurley's figure. He asked him who he was. Akai Gurley, of course, it's dark in the stairways, there's no windows or nothing, no light. Akai Gurley, he's asked him who is he. Akai Gurley was like, who are you? The officer shot him and killed him. That officer went to court. He went to court, and I actually know one of the prosecutors because we had a girls group, a sister circle group, and she was one of the mentors for the sister circle group. And her, along with another prosecutor, got him probation. They made a deal with him. So everybody was all excited, like, yes, this officer went to court. Yes, he was found guilty. And then a black woman and a black man who worked for the system, the prosecutors, cut a deal for this man to get probation. And I'm sitting here in a sister circle the day that the sentencing came out. I'm sitting in a sister circle next to this black woman who is mentoring all these young girls that we have at the table. And she comes and she's upset because protesters have been getting at her all day. So I'm like, well, you know, everything was a secret. So I didn't even know she was on the case until this moment. Till now the case is over. She's sitting at the table. She's all sweating and upset. And I'm like, what's going on? And she opened up and shared. And I went off. Like I went off. Because I'm one of the young girls that was at the table that we were mentoring. This girl had 3 black boys, and her black boys were sitting right there, 3 black babies. And we got this woman who just got this officer probation for killing an innocent black man. It's another older woman who's also one of the mentors there, and she's defending this woman. And this lady, she has a 20-something-year-old son who I was friends with, who we would often meet up in the pink houses where this boy was killed. So that was crazy to me. Like, you know, just the mindset of us, you know, like just the mindset. And I even told my sister who works with the law, and I told my sister, like, once you put on that uniform, once you put on those colors, once you swear that oath, you ain't us no more. I often find, and I'm not saying this is for all black folks in the justice system, but I find quite often a lot of them, this is not for all, but I find that a lot of them, you ain't for us no more. You have been, when you go through training, you are literally being conditioned to protect your fellow officers before you protect those in your own community. You know, you see that white boy in blue next to you as more of a brother or a sister than you see me. And that's the hard part. You know what I'm saying? And I respect black folks who get into it for the right reasons, and shout out to them. If that's you, I'm not talking about you. But we also know the other ones who think that that's dumb, but in the heart, that ain't really dumb. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. It's crazy. Jesse said you can't be a good cop in a crooked system, which is a question, because this is with all systems, whether if it's the police system, the justice system, the education system, within any system. I was having a conversation with somebody about, can you really change a system from the inside? Like, is it really possible to change a system? There are multiple systems that were all built to work against us, to work towards our demise. The justice system was built against us. The education system was built against us. You know, capitalism as a whole is against black people. So can you really change these systems from the inside, or do we need to create our own systems? That's truly the question. That's truly the question. You know, but it's really like, You can't change the system. You must create your own. I'm really starting to feel that way, Kiki. And I felt like that when I was in education. I felt like I was fighting, and I'm creating these circles, and I'm creating these sister circles and these brother circles and these mentorships, and cultivating all these opportunities for kids coming home from Rikers and having vocational training and all of this stuff. And I felt like I was making small changes to help the people I was directly working with, but I still don't feel like it was affecting the system as a whole. It wasn't changing the system as a whole. I'm a small part of a bigger system, when at the end of the day, the sacrifices I had to make just to even be a part of that system was canceling out the good that I was doing. You know what I'm saying? The fact that I'm sitting and I'm an English teacher, and I'm sitting here teaching them how to write papers in a way that is not even consistent with our cultural norms. I'm teaching you how to pass a test that is not meant for you to pass. You know what I'm saying? So once I recognized that, like, yo, I'm a part of the system, but still doing small things to help out, but I'm still a part of the system. That's when I had to make the choice to leave the system. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but just the whole Black experience is like, it's crazy. It really is. And it's a thing that, it's beautiful. I would not want to be anything other than Black. I would not want to be anything other than a Black woman. I love being a Black woman. I'm so grateful that I was born a Black woman. But I think that we also need to understand that you can be born Black, you can be born a Black woman or a Black man, and love it to death, and still be fucking tired, and still be irritated and still be enraged that we can't even walk down the street without getting killed, Trayvon Martin. We can't even listen to loud music without being killed, Jordan Davis. We can't even go for a workout, go for a jog without being killed, Ahmaud Arbery. We can't do anything. It's nothing in this world that we can do. We can't even be 12 years old and play with a toy without being killed, Tamir Rice. We can't even sleep in our own bed, Ayanna Brown. We can't play video games with our little brother. It's so many times where we just can't do regular everyday shit without our life being threatened. I'm in my own house. I literally in my house right now recording a video, or on the phone, or watching TV. I literally had my white neighbor tell me, I hate you. I have no respect for you because I'm too loud for them. I'm too loud. The depth of my voice makes them uncomfortable. And to my face, this white man said, I hate you. I have no respect for you. I literally have it recorded where he said that. And I had to record it because if he ever did anything to me, I needed proof that he said this. The fact that we even got to think like that is a problem. The fact that we even got to think that this man, because he already said he hate me, because he already said he don't respect me, he may try to kill me, he may try to hurt me, and he would get away with it because he white and I'm Black. That's how we got to think as Black folks in America, because why? We see that shit every day. Every day we see it. Every day. Look, he's knocking on the wall right now. Every day we see it. You know what I'm saying? Every day we see it. And that's the sad part. That's the sad part. That's the sad part. Being Black in America is a real thing. It's a real experience that at the end of the day, it's nothing that we can do. It's nothing that we can do. Only thing we can do is just still keep living, still keep surviving, still keep breathing, and hope that we don't die on live. We don't die on live, and that's the sad part. That is the sad part. So I send my love. I appreciate that, Maya. Thank you so much. I send my love to, Ahmaud Arbery's family, to Sean Reed's family, and to all of those affected. Everybody that's raising Black children right now, I send my love to you. Everybody that's, raising Black sons, especially, because we know that's an especially unique experience, having to have those conversations and talk to them. I send my love and I send my care to you, but just also recognize and realize that this is what it is, and to everybody who claims that they are an ally, everybody who claims that they're an ally, do your part. Do your part. Really do your part. Really step up and really make sure that you are checking your folks, check your people. You know what I'm saying? Really make sure you are checking your people. It's crazy. Sean Reed lives in your hometown in Indiana. And that's crazy. Like, no matter where you are, whether it's Indiana, California, Georgia, New York, it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. I'm going back and reading some of y'all comments. We got to protect ourselves in this country. I agree with that. I do agree that we got to protect ourselves, but what does that really look like? You know, what does protecting ourselves really look like? Does it look like, you know, we should be strapped up and ready? Because even that, even we know if we protect ourselves and we strap up, if we shoot back, we going to jail. They not. You know, we gonna go to jail. They ain't going to jail. Buy a gun. Listen, listen. Okay, you ain't got to tell me twice. We as Black people need to create our own system and build our own way to protect our ancestors. Absolutely. Oh yes, build our own way to protect our ancestors. I don't think we'll be able to eat a full plate in the house that ain't ours. Oh, say that again. I don't think we'll be able to eat a full plate in the house that ain't ours. That is so true. I agree with all of that. I definitely agree with that. But y'all be safe, y'all, for real. Protect yourselves. Take care of yourself. And just really like call your family, call Black folks, call Black men and just check on them. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, so many Black men right now just feel like enraged and feel trapped. You know what I'm saying? So please, please, please call your Black men that you know, friends, families, brothers, fathers, everybody, cousins, and just really check on them. Call the sisters. Every sister that's raising a Black child, just call and give us some love and some light. And y'all stay safe and y'all protect yourself. And just really like, let's start thinking about how do we create our own system so that we too can thrive in the country and the land that we built. Okay? Hey, Emily. Peace, family.